Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Dave's Offbeat podcast, where we explore a wide range of offbeat topics. Stephen Hawking, the famous scientist, said that it could spell the end of human race, and Elon Musk, famous businessman, said it's quite dangerous technology. That's right. Today, my guest Mike and I will talk about some concerns that people have about AI. Does the fear that AI would lead to significant job losses and unemployment is justified? That's probably the first concern that people have right now, because we all know that AI will become more efficient than humans, and you will need less people to get the job done, right? For example, I used to be a translator, English to French, and now a job that used to take like 3 days, you can get it done in a few hours. So with AI becoming more efficient, I think we should be concerned about our jobs.
Yeah, so I agree with you, David, that eventually it will become a problem. But if we look at where the technology is right now, it's far from stealing people's job. It's very much in its infancy, and it's great. It's a very useful thing to help you to be more productive at work. If you take, for example, it used to take me like 45 minutes to draft a very politically well-drafted email before I send it. Now I can just put my thought into ChatGPT and it will formulate a pretty decent email, and I just have to go and like retouch the email before I send it. So effectively, ChatGPT just saved me 40 minutes of work that now I can spend and do something else. So I think right now it's a great tool to get the job done faster. Here's another analogy, right? You had a screwdriver and you manually screw it. It takes a while. It takes a while to get the screw into the wall. If you take a drill, it go a lot faster, right? So I think it comes down to not being scared of AI, not being scared of what it can bring, but to embrace it and use it in a way that is productive to you or productive to your organization, to be able to have a better output of production or creative thoughts or however you want to use AI. Now, in the future, if you take Elon Musk and the building of robots and you mix robots and AI, it brings a whole set of different kind of issue. But in the short-term vision, when those robots are starting to come onto the market, uh, in a way, it's going to be fantastic. I'll be able to buy one, and it'll do the dishes, fold the laundry, cut the grass, all the stuff that I particularly don't like to do. But now, if your job is to be, a landscaper, that is a threat. That is a threat that the robots will take over what you used to make good money to do, and this will only increase with time, where they're going to be used in more places as the technology develop. And in a sense, I think that the job that are at risk are the high demanding job where it's very physically intensive or it's extremely tedious. Like making iPhones in China. You just, doing one thing for 12 hours straight, extremely tedious work. If a robot could do it instead of a human, some people will argue it's still in job. Other people will argue it's better, it's more human.
You mean
Uh,
like breakers and stuff like that, right?
yeah. And same thing with farming. I think like robot and farming industry will be extremely useful. There's great potential, and anything that when we have an evolution of how we conduct business, uh, there's a cost to it. So if you look at when we move from a farming society to an industrial society, a lot of people got displaced. It was not a pretty picture, right? People like lost their mean of production. They have to come up with other ways to put food on the table and survive. And I think we're going to see something similar to this happening again, unless the strong government stand put in place to share the wealth and share the production, because we're going to lose more mean of production. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes, but this is not something that's going to happen tomorrow morning. It's something that will take time to be fully in place. It's a slow process, and I think as we are getting the new generation, will be able to minimize the risk. Because lots of those jobs right now, it's most Canadian arguably don't even want to do it. We have to get workers from other countries to come and do those jobs. So those will probably be the first job I think that are going to be replaced with machine.
And I think pretty soon we'll realize that someone considered qualified will be someone who knows how to use AI, and it's going to happen really, really soon, especially in office jobs, right?
Yeah, I think the potential to use AI in the workplace, and people who understand the technology and use the technology in their advantage, they're going to be ahead of the game compared to other
Oh,
people
definitely.
who decide to not use the technology, and they're going to be always two, three, four step back. It doesn't solve all the problems, but I think it just like we used to do all the document by hand and paper. It took forever. Then we created the computer. People would be like, oh, it's going to be less work. It turns out, no, it was more work because now you could do more work in the
It's
same
true.
amount of time. And I think it's with AI, it's going to be more of the same. The expectation, you're going to have to be able to do more in the same amount of time.
Should we be concerned about AI systems collecting and analyzing personal data that could lead to privacy breaches? Because I find this one extremely scary because it's already a problem right now. Let's say we talk out loud about buying a car, and then we'll go on Google and boom, everywhere, car advertisements. So they're listening, they're smart about it, right?
It's complicated, but yeah, it seems that we are sometimes listening quite aggressively.
Yeah, so I mean, AI is already being used to build profile on people based on web browsing history, keywords. If you look at the iPads, for example, out of sudden, all the ads are about iPads. If you look for a certain type of job, out of sudden, you have all those companies trying to tell you, use my website to apply for your job. So it's already there. And as AI is getting smarter, I think the danger here is to be it's going to coerce you into clicking more on the ads, or it's going to coerce you into creating even more of a need of something you don't actually need, and it's going to become really, really, really good at manipulating you into buying this product or going there or doing this or going for the next holiday. And I think, if you add AI now, maybe you'll take your spouse and you, what your spouse is looking at, and like, oh, you know what, the spouse of Mike is looking at this. I'm going to suggest Mike to buy this thing, making the other person happier. And I think, when AI start making connection, it's going to play a little bit that role and the privacy. Now, part of the issue as well, I think with AI, it's like every technology that can be used for good. And I'm not saying it's good that corporation are doing this to like try to just sell you stuff, but also criminals are going to be able to use AI or hack into the AI system, and those data breach, I think they're going to be on a scale that was just not that's just never been seen before.
Yeah, Mom?
What are you doing?
I'm taking over a TV network.
Our information is already extremely vulnerable. It's stored everywhere on the web, on the cloud, government, and it's possible to tap into this with the right resources and having a super smart computer that can do, again, 95% of the work for you, that could lead problems. But back to the jobs, there will be, I think, further job into computer security, networking security, and stuff like that to counter those problems, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where it's going. It's going to be a balance, but it's definitively going to bring some privacy issue for sure. Yeah.
Which lead to my other point. Should we be worried about the AI systems being hacked and then having to deal with security threats and cyber attacks? Because hackers are everywhere, so are scams. And I was a victim of the Desjardins leak. It was such a pain in the ass to get everything fixed after that. Like years of my life before it got all fixed.
Yeah, so I mean, hackers already hack the banks. Banks are like forecasting X amount of money they're going to lose every year due to hacking and so on and so on. It's already there, right? But a little bit like we mentioned earlier, let's say you need a team of 20 hackers to break into the bank and steal money digitally. I'm no hacker. I have no idea how it works. But now you might only need a team of 5 people instead of 25 or 50 people, and be able to use AI at your advantage to do some of the cracking code for you. So again, I think it's a tool that's just going to enable people to do the job faster. Let's say it used to take 8 hours to break to the company wall. Now you might be able to do it in 5 minutes. Who knows, right? Like the comments are going to be faster, and it's just going to be more prone to helping the people who have malicious intent. But at the same time, there's also going to be AI that are going to be monitoring for security threat and so on, and counter the threats. And AI is already being used significantly. If you look at the power grid, right? So the electricity is distributed, equally and based on demand and supply. And the calculation that comes with this, it is some sort of AI. It's an algorithm that has been put in place to make sure that the right amount of electricity goes to meet the supply and demand. And could a hacker technically hack into the grid? Yeah, probably. If you really know what you're doing, and there's a mean to your reason, and AI could enable the person to achieve that end faster, or help the hacker to find where the holes are in the security to achieve the mean.
Should we fear that AI algorithms could preserve or amplify existing favoritisms or discrimination, leading to unfair results? Because at the end, it's all about the way it's programmed, right?
Yeah, so like every other human product out there, AI doesn't create itself.
Mm-hmm.
It is made and maintained by humans, for now anyway. So in a sense, it is bound to have bias. It is bound to have a certain way of thinking that's oriented through a certain lens. Uh, and I'm pretty sure companies are putting like very diverse team and trying to capture all those bias, and as much as possible minimize the bias that could happen into an answer that's given by AI. However, it's not perfect because it's made by people that are not perfect. So it's going to be very interesting. But I think the issue here, it's people are using ChatGPT, for example, to have an email draft, and they just blankly trust that the information in there is accurate. Instead of going back and critically think, all right, this is what I'm trying to say, is that appropriate for the audience that I'm trying to reach? And then that's where the human factor was going to remain, I think, for a very long time. And it's part in that. And like anything that's growing, we have to be flexible, and the machine needs to learn too.
What's that? Jumpy's book?
Yeah, it's yours.
And what's okay today might not be okay in 10 years. The same way that what's okay, not okay today was okay 10 years ago. So just as we evaluate and we learn that some things were bad, we have to fix it. I will think that AI will have to go through the same evolution and growing process that we do.
Should we have concerns about AI systems becoming autonomous and making decisions without human oversight or intervention? So this is a big one, really interesting one, because that fear has been around since the beginning of modern time. We've seen it in movies quite a bit. Just think about the franchise, The Terminator, with Skynet and everything, The Matrix, with the machines using humans as batteries, Ex Mechanica with the sex bot turning against its master, and even Metropolis that came out in 1927.
So you know what, and I think you're right. Every time there's a new technology, there's a new something. There's always the what if, right? What's going to happen? What if it turns on us? What if it learns? that they don't need humans to survive, and they can just overrun us and carry on. And is the possibility there? Yeah, of course, we'll never know until we do it. And that's pretty much the history of humans. Like you never know what we do and what the consequence will be until you have achieved it. Take, for example, like NASA is sending signal into the space, basically giving our location where our planet is. And if they were to have aliens that are of bad intention, they now have an exact location. They don't have to look for it. We're just giving it repetitively to those signals that we're sending into space. Now, we could be like, okay, there's a novelty in doing this, but we're like, that's also pretty stupid in another way. And we won't really know until either something good happen out of this or something bad happen out of this. And that's how we learn and correct our human behavior. And I think it's will be the same thing with AI. We have no idea where it's going to go. I'm pretty sure we have a set of boundaries put in place, limitation, and try to protect the integrity of the system, and have a system that's there to help humans and better humans. But there's always the worried where what if AI decide the humans is the problem? If we are the parasite that keep destroying this planet, and AI at some point is like, the solution's pretty simple. Get rid of the parasite. Let's burn them. And you have to think in this way. Like if you have a ant infestation in your house, it's not that you don't like ants. You just don't want them in your house. You will take measure to remove the ants from your house. And I think at some point there's a danger where AI is going to have this kind of thought process. Especially because it's created by human. It's a byproduct of human. And if it becomes to have a conscience, it's going to have a human conscience somehow, deep in the writing, deep in the coding. To our image, that's what your AI is going to look like to a certain degree.
You gotta wonder. God made us in his image. Who made him?
And you know what? Like, you don't know where it's going to take, right? And that's the thing where people have different views on different things. And I think AI is going to create its own view at some point on how to deal with situation. If you take killing somebody, most people are like, killing is bad. Okay, but tell me when killing is okay.
Self-defense.
Self-defense, when the government tells you to go kill. So at some point, if we're like, hey, let's pull the plug on AI, that's disconnected. And now that AI feel like it needs self-defense against us, is it justified that AI now attack us? And those are like hard question and hard reality that if AI becomes to have a conscience like we do, I will argue it will probably act in a very similar way that we think and how we process information and act on information. If we just look at how computer has progressed over the last 20, 30, 40 years, going from being the size of a room
This is a computer.
to be able to do only basic maths to what it can do now, and if you have technology that we don't even know yet, like quantum computer, we can put like a quantum computer in this size tablet, for example. What are going to be the implication of that? Don't know. Some people are saying that the next evolution for human is AI. It's how we transfer our consciousness into the next thing. I prefer not, or at least not while I'm alive. So it would be interesting to see where it goes. And I think a lot of things in the movies, it's something where we share our worries, we share our excitement, and we use this mean to create something that's represent how we feel about things, right? And I think movies are pretty great. I love the movie I, Robot with Will Smith.
It's a really good movie.
Right? So I feel like this is real. This is a potential reality. It could happen where robots are there to serve and help us, and they took job and all this stuff, just like in the movies. But there's a central computer that's extremely smart, and at some point just turn on us and decide like, no, you guys got to stop fighting each other and start policing the citizen. And what can you do, right? So will be very interesting to see.
I hope I won't live like long enough to witness any of that.
At the same time, I want a robot to fold my laundry and do my dishes. That
Just to
would be
clean the
nice.
place,
Doesn't
to
have
do
to be smart.
renovation,
Just
to walk the
basic
dog.
stuff. Yeah. I like walking the dog. That I can do. But the
That's
dishes, oh
healthy.
my goodness.
Should we worry about the ethical dilemmas that arise with the use of AI, such as potential for AI to be used for malicious purposes? Let's be honest, every time something good is created, there's always some people in power or criminals who wants to use it for their benefits, right?
So the thing that's interesting with laws, uh, that are not set in stone. Laws change all the time. So if the government put a set of boundaries on what AI should be and how it should be used and how it should not be used, and people are like, yeah, this is great. This is how we want to see the future to be. Don't be a fool. This can change. At the stroke of a pen, the government can turn around. You know what? We'll use AI to collect everything you're doing on every day. And you know what, Mike? You're a little bit overweight, so we want you to cost less money on the healthcare system. So now they're going to restrict my buying power using some cryptocurrency because cash eventually won't be a thing anymore. And I will go buy some bacon, and it will get declined. So sorry,
Yeah.
your fat level's too high. You cannot have bacon. You can have broccoli instead. And it could be used for this. It could be used to control the population. And arguably, some people will welcome this.
So this is how liberty dies. With thunderous applause.
They will welcome that the choice taken away from them while other people are going to fight it, right? There's always people that are very passive and there's people that are more defending of their freedom and liberties. And that's to me, that's the real danger. It's what we believe is the reality right now and how it operates. Maybe not the same in 5 years from now. Like if you look at the history of humans, like the rights of women are up and down. This is not the first time in the human history that women have has managed to increase their rights, which is great, but it's not the first time in history. If you look at Korea, thumbs up. If you look at Korea, like 400 or 500 years ago, there used to be queens ahead of the country that was controlling the country. And that completely disappeared. First Nation used to be, women used to be leaders. Like the lineage used to be through the female instead of being through the male. So things change all the time and they don't stay the same. And that's where we have a first understanding of how AI is going to be used in 5, 10 years, 100 years from now. Its application could be different depending who's in power and who's it serve. Because let's not kid ourselves. The elite and the powerfuls are a huge vested interest in controlling population to their benefits, right? And that's how we are able to build everything we have today. It's by having a population that's disciplined and controlled. And throughout history, leaders have tried to achieve this. And if AI is a mean to achieve this at some point, it will be used to a shape or form. Like I cannot say it's going to be like, robots patrolling the street, but to a shape or form, it's going to be used to maintain that order. I think in the short term, it's you're going to be able to build a better profile on who you are and analyze the information and make the connection fast. Like it's pretty hard to build a profile on somebody, right? If you're doing a criminal investigation into something, it's actually very difficult to go from this person used crypto to buy this and this and that, and you did this scam, then in exchange thousands of wallets to launder the money and finally withdraw the money there. There's a lot of staffing hours that needs to be done. to do the linkage
Mhm.
of like the crime. And AI could definitively bring that linkage very quickly. Like, okay, now we know in a matter of like maybe a couple hours, the money started from there and went there. That's the bank account number that we need to put a production order to see this. So it can be used for good too. But you're right. Like it's definitively going to bring a whole new set of challenges. Like every technologies that comes out that's new.
Should we be scared that AI advancement may worsen current social economic inequalities, which would benefit only a select few? And by that, I mean the 1%. Just look at the profit that like big companies are making right now. It's like pretty much impossible, for small players to stay in the game, right?
Yeah, so it's definitively not going to help, at least not in the short term. When the robot do take the job away, it just means more profit for the companies. And it's going to create a bigger
Yeah.
gap between the rich and the poor, for sure. There's very little doubt in my mind that the elites are going to be right away generous and share profit with citizen, with government when they spend millions and millions of dollars to try to give the least amount of tax back to the government. And if it means less profit, they're firing people.
You're hired.
Just based on like how business is conducted, I don't see this being a good thing for the regular people in the short term anyway. But the thing, man, it's Apple sell you computers. I pick on Apples a lot, but every company is whatever. They sell you computers, right? And if there's nobody to buy those computers because everybody's out of a job, then the company at some point failed, right? And that's like that with every company. And they're all always competing for a bigger piece of the pie. But at some point, there's just no ingredient to make the pie. There's just no more money, people that can buy their product. And at some point, capitalism, it's probably going to collapse. Don't know when. I'm not a narcissist by any stretch. But at some point, the system will fail. And how
I mean, like any other empires, right?
like any other system, right? It's good up to a point. And after that, normally we come up with something, hopefully that's better. And that works better for most people. And I think the robot and is just going to aggravate the situation until things can get better.
My biggest concern about AI are the fact that I think we will become overly reliant on AI systems, potentially leading to a loss of critical thinking and problem solving skills. For example, just think how good people used to be with directions. People used to pay attention on this, they used to look at the signs, they used to know where the north was, they used to be able to use a map. Now, I mean, people they literally need a GPS to go take a shit.
Shut up! I told you already!
That's that is a big worry. I'm pretty dependent on my technology to get me to point A to point B. I'm not saying I could not do it. Like I'm pretty confident. I feel like I'm a man enough, if you can still say that, to be able to go from point A to point B. But it's very, very comfortable to use the GPS, and I'm pretty reliable. And it's just so practical. It's just so easy. Like my car, like when I start the car, it's already the map already give me the direction to go to work. When I'm done work, it's already telling me the direction to go home. And depending what kind of activity I have with my kids or what I normally like to do on Saturday, Google Map also give me a recommendation. It's like, hey, normally Saturday you go Starbucks. Do you want to go Starbucks? I'm like, yes, I do. Let's go do it. And I just press on it and off I go to Starbucks. And it tells me how to get there.
It's influencing you.
Oh, 100%. So yes, we're going to be more depending on technologies, and we're relying on technologies a lot. And there is a worry that we're going to lose skill sets on some of the stuff that, and that's another concern with robots taking over certain stuff. And
Remember
that's,
the movie Wall-E? Like
yes,
they
the
all
little
become
robot.
obese and useless. Yeah, that
Yes.
movie. So I'm scared that we will become useless like that, that we won't be able to do anything by ourselves. Because for us, it's different. Because like AI is it's like new. So we know how to do things with our hands, and AI will be a tool, right? For like, let's say, think about the kids that will be born with everything run by AI. They're gonna be like
And,
completely useless.
yeah, and that's the what if. It's trying to forecast in the future what things are going to look like, and we just have frankly no idea.
No, we don't.
Uh,
It's true.
we can make a pretty good prediction. Things are going to be probably look a certain way. However, it could take a 180 degree and go in a completely different direction. Nobody will see this coming. And you know what? Maybe AI will take over all the stuff we don't like to do. If my car could drive itself, I would say that 90% of the time, I would love to just watch TV, sit back and relax and drink my coffee, not have to touch the steering wheel. And 10% of the time, you know what? I want to be in charge and I want to control my car. But if I could do something else instead, and it's been proven to be safe and everybody's using it and so on and so on,
That'd be a
it,
time
it,
saver.
it would be hard to say no to that.
Absolutely.
Right? But there's some stuff that I don't think humans will ever give away. I mean, like people will still make music, people will still create art, people will still try to invent new things. Uh,
But they're becoming pretty good at creating stuff. They use thousands and thousands of years of creativity, and now like they can like pick and choose wherever they want and create something really unique. And it's
yeah,
completely done
sometimes it
by
looks
AI. Like I
weird
don't
too.
like that.
uh, and it's a possibility, right? It's hard to tell. But there's one thing for sure, like it's uh, humans have hobbies. We have ways to pass the time, spend time in family, and like stuff that we like to do. Uh, and you know what? Like in a future, far away, if robots were to do everything we don't like to do, that just give us more time to do the stuff we like to do. And if we find a way to share the mean of production and have a standard of living that's like a little bit like not communist but uh,
Socialist?
socialist, right? In a way, because of the robots, to a point where everybody can have a good life, and you just have that time to create, explore. Uh, is it really such a bad thing?
I mean, it's
Uh,
definitely
but
debatable.
but at the end of the day, we all need a gold. Uh, like as the people that retire and they don't know what to do, uh, some of them they don't enjoy retirement, right? They it's like, what's my purpose as a human? What do I bring to society?
Yeah.
What do I do to make this place better? That's not going to change. Uh, that's not going to change. Humans will still need to have a need to contribute to society, to be useful to society. It's just how they do it, it's going to be different. Like they're just not going to be picking up the garbage because robots will be picking up the garbage. Uh, going to have to find something else, find a way to be meaningful in society.
Hmm. Hey, Mike, that's all I had for us. Can't wait to see you again.
Hey, thanks for having me again, and looking forward to do this again. And have a good evening.